Ma'am, so moving on to the next question. What challenges did you face as a woman of color in STEM and leadership, and how did you overcome them?
Ooh. So even back when I first became a teacher back in the early 2000s, I remember going to a school and they didn't believe I was like the other teachers, the students, no one believed I was a teacher. They definitely didn't believe I was a science teacher. They were like, "You're a sub." I was like, "No, I'm a teacher." And they were like, "What?" And I know it's because of my color, because I was working in a different district that was not used to having women of color as teachers, but definitely not women of color in as a science teacher. And so then when I would come, because you could see, I got the nails, the lash, like mm, yeah. So when I walked in, my teacher's kids was like, "Where's our science teacher?" I'm like, "It's me." And so they were not used to seeing a teacher that looks like me, and especially as smart in science and math. And so that's kind of when I first started, even started thinking about how can I make this engaging for kids and for they can see this and want to become it. I even have some students now that are like doctors, cosmetic scientists, and they say, I
Wow.
remember I was in your seventh grade class, and I remember I did my cell model, and you did this, and we did that. And they're 30 some years old now, but they remember what they did in the seventh grade because of what I done. But I had to overcome those stereotypes, those barriers where no one wanted to believe that I was a science teacher. Then, when I became assistant principal, some of the same things. You can't be a principal. Those are normally men. And, they didn't think I can be hard and I can, be tough on kids. And I'm like, oh, I know how to handle kids. I don't have to have this because I'm only 5 feet tall. I don't have to have this big manly presence. It's about the confidence I exclude and the way I walk into a classroom or a building. People know, don't mess, I'm all about business. I have high expectations. Don't do that. And then journeying all of that into the new role of CEO, that has been very challenging because we know most CEOs are not women, especially not women of
Yes.
color. And just trying to get other people to realize that I'm serious, I'm about excellence, because they feel like if they had a bad experience with another woman or a woman of color in business, they try to group us all together. And that's not,
Yeah.
I stand my character, my love for excellence, striving for greatness is always high expectations is always at the forefront. So I have to break down those barriers for people to see that I'm about business. And so now being in the full time doing this for 4 years, getting the name out there, associated with excellence. People are really taking me seriously now. But it's those, I had to break down those doors. I had to, stop people from putting a ceiling over me. I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. Even like some of the things that we're going to embark on next is like never heard of and never heard of, especially with a minority owned business. And so I'm super excited about and I keep telling everybody, I get to live out my dream. And so these are only things I was dreaming about, but I'm making them happen. And so you can't stop me with a dream. Like I got a dream, a goal, a plan, action behind it. So I'm gonna make it happen. So it has definitely been challenging, but I wouldn't change it because I appreciate when I'm on the other side. Like people said, you can't make a music video about STEM and make it fun. And I did that. So now I look back and be like, hmm. So we're making commercials now. We're gonna make a virtual reality game. Like we're going to do those things that people said we couldn't do and then have the joy of saying, see, I did it.
See, I proved you wrong.
I proved it wrong.
Unstoppable. Ma'am, I'm actually really surprised that I mean I've heard like I've had I think 8 guests on my podcast before, and every guest has told me like different challenges. Most of them tell me about how motherhood has, kind of paused their career and how it was difficult to get back to the position at which they were. But I felt like your story was pretty unique because you had to constantly prove yourself at, like every step that, I'm capable of doing this and I will do it. And, you had to prove the fact that you're serious about what you're doing. So, yeah, I think that's a very diverse perspective, and that was definitely not something which I was expecting. But I think, I mean, you have been proving all of them wrong. So I think
I,
that's the
I
good part.
And I will just comment on what you said about motherhood. Definitely, motherhood has been challenging. But what I did, I was very intentional about making my business and including my child and my
Yeah,
children. And so that's what I tell people. Like when I was thinking about a business I wanted to start, I was like, I didn't want it to be where I had to leave Nyla at home.
yeah.
So like she's been going into boardrooms and meetings ever since she was 2 years old. She come with her little coloring book. And so now she does podcasts like this. She knows how to talk to
Wow.
people. She's been on the news at least 8 times. So I did not want to do something that excluded her. And now with our business with Nyla Nova STEMversity, we have my mother go into classes with, my son goes to classes. My one son that lives in a different state, he's our strategic officer, so he meets with people through Zoom. So we made it a fact, and my husband is the CFO. So I was able to include motherhood within the business. And so that's what's been very helpful for myself. I know everybody can't do that because sometimes your business and your
Yeah.
but I was able to merge those two. And sometimes the lines do get blurry because my mom be thinking she the boss, and I'd be like, I'm the boss. So I have to tell her, step back. But we say we work hard, but we play harder. And so we have so much fun together with work and outside of work as well. So we were able to juggle it, and that made all the difference for us.
I think it's really fun to have like the entire family involved at I mean at the place where you work. So basically, yeah, I think it's really fun, and that's something which even I would want to do. Like if I could have my entire family, that would be like crazy fun.
It will.
So
Well, it can be rough too, because it's you working with family, you love them, but then sometimes they don't always agree or see your vision.
okay,
So we have
true.
some issues now. It's not all roses and peaches, and it can be a little tough, but it's better to be with your family doing it than strangers that don't really understand or don't care, because they're all doing it out of
Yeah,
love and care for you and stuff. So.
that's true. I think when you're doing something like this, it's really important to like have a network of people who actually understand the problem and who actually like think it's relevant and want to really do something for the community.
Yes, yes, I agree.
It's really needed, right? Ma'am, so if a young girl was listening to this podcast right now who's passionate about science but is unsure of her place in it, what would you say to her?
Just do it. You can do it. I would tell them, do not listen to the naysayers. Do not listen to your inner voice that may be saying you can't do it. You can do anything you put your mind to it. You can make anything happen. You just have to have consistency, patience, perseverance, motivation, and accountability. And so a lot of those things will encourage you when you don't think you can do it. There's been times I'm like, I can't go on, I can't. And then that perseverance or that motivation or that accountability, because I'm looking at my daughter and she's looking like, and I'm like, oh, I got to do it. So just do it. Just know you can do it. It's always okay to do it on your own time. So if you need to take a step back, if you need to redo stuff, don't be afraid. And so me, I'm a risk taker. And so I jump out there. I take risks all the time. Some people are not like that. But they're always calculated risks. I look at both sides, pros and cons, and I just never been the one that want to have regrets. I'd rather say I tried to do something, man, that didn't work, but I learned from it
Yeah.
versus not doing anything at all. So no regrets, conquer your fears, have the confidence in yourself, and stay motivated and go after your passion. Because if you're passionate about something and that's your purpose in life, the sky is not the limit. You will go out into the universe because nothing can stop you then. Because even when sometimes my passion may die down, my purpose is driving me. Or sometimes my purpose is like, I'm like, I get like, where's my why? And then my passion was like, your why. Come on. So they kind of say, let's do this. And so do those things that make you happy. I know your family gonna want what's best for you, but ultimately it's your life and you got to do what's best for you.
I think I really loved your answer. And I love the fact that you straight up pulled out Nike slogan, just do it.
Just
So
do it. Yeah,
just
do
do
it.
it. And
Yes.
I think, yeah, consistency, perseverance, motivation. I mean, you need to keep that inner flame alive within you. And like if you have the motivation and if you know what you want to achieve, then yeah, sky is the limit. And sky is not the limit, and you can like do anything you want and you can achieve anything you want. So yeah, I think that's something every girl should listen to, and that should, be a girl's motto. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's been
um,
mine. I just got to do it. I get up there and keep fighting and do it.
Ma'am, how do you stay motivated when the change feels slow?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm definitely not, I don't have a lot of patience. So I want to get things done right away. And I'll just tell you, like when I first did our very first book, um, I said it would be done in 6 months and it took almost 2 years. And so, because I had to change illustrators, had to find a publisher, I didn't know how to write a book, I didn't know what I was doing, had to learn the process. So, what I've learned is every time I think something's going to take this amount of time, it takes longer. But the goal is that I don't like for things to just end. Like, I'm not going to say, well, I'm not going to do it because it's taking too long. I'm like, I'm in it now. I got to see it through. And so I've been motivating myself just to be like, okay, it didn't happen right now, doesn't mean it won't happen. And
Yeah.
sometimes when it doesn't happen right now is because, like I said, at first I didn't have the right illustrator. So I had to pivot, but I had to know, okay, it's time to pivot and go get the right illustrator. But I could have just said, well, we'll use this one, or I could have scrapped the whole project and then we probably wouldn't be here on this podcast. So it's about following through on stuff, no matter how long it takes, the challenges. So I am my biggest cheerleader. I'm my biggest pep squad. I'm my biggest coach, motivator. Like, you can do it. But I'd be like, no, I can't. I'd be like, yes, you can. I tap myself on the shoulder, like, let's go. Let's go. I hype myself up, all of those things. So, like, I have to just make it happen against all odds.
I think everybody should be like their own cheerleader the way you are your cheerleader,
Awesome.
because
Okay.
when times are tough, I don't think anybody's gonna like very few people are actually going to come and push you. It's you who has to, push yourself and has to get that work done. And I think you're very right when you say at some point you are going to achieve it if you continue to stay motivated and work consistently. If not now, at some point you will. So
Exactly.
even when we talk about my podcast, so first I started the podcast with, my own connections. Like a couple of my first few guests were my own teachers and, family friends. After that, I started working with, connections of connections, like their own connections. And I think now we are on the ninth episode. And finally, I've gotten some recognition from, somebody who I don't know at all. And, and I got posted on your blog, which is like a really big thing
Oh,
for
thank you.
me.
It was amazing.
I mean, I was not expecting this to happen so soon. I mean, I would say 8 episodes is, it is kind of a good timeline to get like posted on a blog. And also, yeah, I think I started this podcast in April, so it has almost been 1 year. So the change did feel very slow at the beginning. I was like, who's going to listen to me? Am I even making an impact? I barely have like, 100, 200 followers. Is it even impactful? But I think slowly my likes started increasing. I mean, I've still not gotten there, but my likes started increasing. I started getting followers, and then I got posted on your blog. I started getting more international recognition from unknown people. Like now, I don't really need to, reach out to guests and keep like, kind of bugging them for meetings. Even they show more interest, like, oh, I mean, they're more curious about like, what is it? and when can we work this out? So yeah, I think you're very right when you say if not now, then you will get to what you want at some point. So yes. Now moving on to the next question. If you could design the perfect STEM school from scratch, no limits, no budget, what would it look like? What subjects, spaces, and experiences would it include?
All right, so I can't tell too much of this because I am working on what I think is the perfect STEM experience, but we're gonna call it Nyla Nova STEMtopia because it's
Okay.
gonna be all things STEM. And so I'm just gonna give you just a general view, but when like the kids and the families walk in, it's like Disney World, but STEM wise. And so you got laser shooting
Wow.
everywhere, you got bubbles and you got drones flying through the air, and you're in there like, oh my God, I can't believe how fun this is. You got fake rockets being shot up and different things. And so my dream is to make it a place where just like a staple, like when people want to go to Disneyland because they feel that magic and they feel like no matter if they're 90 or 80, people still got their Mickey Mouse ears on. I want them to have their Nyla Nova goggles on and their Nyla Nova magnifying glass. Like, I want it to be such a fun place that you got people lining up around the corner. Like when Apple used to drop their next Apple phone and be lines out the round the corner down the street. I want it to be something like that because I feel like um we because we're edutainment, so we want to entertain, but we want to be somewhere that people are like yearning and that they can't get enough of getting educated about how things work, how the world works. So our four pillars are explore, and so then okay, there's explore, then there's tech, health, and then spark, which is our engineering and stuff. And so we will have those four different areas, and you would do stuff like um acting like you're working in a hospital or you working for a tech company or you designing the next NASA launch shuttle. And so just giving kids and families those experiences and stuff.
Ma'am, I think whenever I come to US, I would definitely want to visit your campus. It's based in Indianapolis, right?
Well, we working on it. It's not there yet, but we definitely trying to get it. But that's something I wanted. And the goal is to eventually have one in almost every major city, then the states, and then going global as well.
I think your vision is, I mean, like it looks really fun, and I hope that actually happens. Like a STEM Disneyland is something which is completely out of imagination. Like I can't even imagine it.
I know
Yeah.
it's gonna be amazing. So I still got hope. I thought I was gonna have it way sooner, but it's one of those things that I say I always think, oh, I can get it right now. And then I'm just learning the process and working on it. So
If you were to host a dinner party with one iconic woman in STEM in the STEM history, who would she be and what would you ask her?
oh my goodness. There's so many. Um, it's so many. I know I saw that question. I'm like, I don't know. It's so many. I mean, you
Really?
got like Mae Jemison, who went up into space. One of the first African American women went into space. Um, I don't know. I'm so inspired by so many women, just everything that they've done to make all the and I can't even think of the one lady's name I just saw recently that I didn't know that she developed the VoIP system so we can have Zoom and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, that was a woman. Like it's every day through this process, I'm learning
Yeah.
wonderful women that are doing stuff. So I can't just name one. It's so many. It's all the pioneers. It's the ones that fought against, different things that stayed up late to make things happen. Um, Even when certain ones were taken advantage of, they still made an impact. Just like, the movie Hidden Figures and different those that, have made even space flight possible, but never got the recognition. So it's so many. I can't even do it justice. I just love it's not even just the pioneers. It's you, Trisha. It's myself. It's Nyla. It's my granddaughter Simona's coming up. It's the past, present, future women that are going to make a impact and change that I'm super excited about.
I think this is another unique answer which you have given me because I think most of my guests or whoever I've asked this question to, in most of the cases they are able to name somebody in specific. But I really loved your answer about how, every woman is inspiring in their own way, and
All right.
every woman is basically trying to get a change and is making a change in their own domains, big,
Yeah,
small, whatever. But
exactly.
there is some progress which is being made.
Yes,
I really
yes.
loved your answer. All right.
Thank you.
All right, now it's time to switch gears and turn up the tempo because we
Oh,
are heading into the lightning rapid fire segment. This is where we put our guests' processing power to the ultimate test with a series of quick fire questions. So, ma'am, are you ready to blaze through the questions?
yes.
So, the STEM word that describes you the best.
Energetic.
Okay. One children's book every kid should read.
Who is Nyla Nova?
I knew you would say that. Coffee or tea while writing?
Coffee.
Favorite subject in school besides STEM?
History.
Oh, interesting. Favorite experiment or STEM activity for kids?
Science of magic. So anything that looks like is magic and then explaining it.
Dream city to launch a new STEMversity campus in.
Somewhere in India. No.
Oh my God, I knew you would say that. I literally knew you would say that. One word your students would use to describe you.
Um, Passionate.
Okay. So I think you just passed the rapid fire round with flying STEM colors. So, with this, the ninth episode of STEMnist Voices comes to an end. I would like to express my gratitude to Miss Nakeisha Washington for taking our time to provide us with so many valuable insights. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you for being amazing and doing what you're doing. I want to thank your viewers, your audience, everyone that had a hand in just getting you to this place, your teachers, your role models, your family members. It takes a village, and I love that what you're doing. And so I just thank you for having me.
It's totally my pleasure, ma'am. And I really loved our conversation. It gave me a new lens. And I think normally I have interviewed many people from the field, like engineers, people who are into biology, but I've never interviewed somebody who's trying to, bring about a change in the field itself. Like people are part of the field, but nobody is really working to bring a change in the field. So I think this is a very unique podcast, which gave me many experiences and many points to talk about. So thank you so much for being here again, ma'am.
All right. Well,
Last
thank you.
Last but not the least, I would like to thank all our listeners for tuning in. If you like this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my podcast. Thank you.